Well, Richard Eden, you raised the prospect of something that really would be a turn up for the books at the moment. In your royal newsletter last week, a few jaws were dropped at the idea of you discussing the possibility that the king might abdicate.
This was in the context of Queen Margaret of Denmark, who next week will...
He's always causing drama.
she will hand over the throne to her son, Prince Frederick. And she's done that because she's of an age, I think she's 83. She's had some health problems, she's had major back surgery, and she would rather hand over to her younger heir. And I was just making the point that in the past, abdication has been a real dirty word in the royal family. But it needn't be. You know, we're a mature democracy. I think that we're comfortable with the monarchy. It's very secure, and that in the future, not obviously now, but some point in the future, if King Charles did struggle to carry out his duties, he shouldn't feel shy about abdicating, following the example of Queen Margaret.
Do you think, Richard Kay, I mean, obviously abdication is a word that is long associated with the royal family, particularly the British royal family and our history here, but would the A word ever be used actually within the royal family?
Well, it was a dirty word through all those years when Queen Elizabeth was on the throne, and because of her direct relationship to what happened in 1936, the abdication of her uncle, and how it affected her father and her mother, it sort of clouded, not clouded, but certainly it was a shadow in the background of her throughout her reign. Charles is one generation removed from that. I don't think he has the same attitude. He has not made the assertion that his mother made at age 21, that she would go on and on forever and ever as long as she can. I think he's much more realistic about what he can do and the limits that the body might have on him in future years. And I think Richard is right. I think it is quite possible that at a certain date he might decide to stand down if it's in the interest of the long term of the monarchy.
We were talking earlier, and I thought it was really interesting, Victoria, you saying that there's always been this thread running through the royal family of feeling like the position is ordained by God, and that was certainly the Queen's belief. Do you think that Charles has the same view?
I don't know what exactly his view was on that point, but I think perhaps, as Richard says, there is the capacity now for a more pragmatic approach to this idea that it has to be a lifelong job, and that's the only way to look at it. Because I think the tricky thing in this country is that abdication has been associated with instability of the monarchy for so long, so it's sort of more of a stretch to brand it as kind of securing the future. But that's the way that a lot of monarchies around the world are now looking at it, and that's what we're seeing in Denmark now, happening in Denmark for the first time, this kind of practical approach to, I've done this for a certain amount of time and now is the right time and I'm going to make that decision. And so I certainly wouldn't rule it out as something that we could see here in the future.
It's so interesting. And now, speaking of interesting, we've got lots of your comments coming up in just a moment. But just quickly, Richard, back to you for a moment.